That's killed it.
We made the decision to play Thiago. Klopp doesn't change the system. Just move back left. Don't want to change on the 4th.
Boom, boom. What's going on? What's going on, people? Back again on the Jerry James Show with your main man here himself. Big up to everyone that's tuning in at the moment. Please, 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 as I always say, smash a like. That's the ticket to entry, guys. That's the ticket to entry. It's looking like a JJ takeover at the moment. Couple people late, running work from gym, but no worries, no worries. No worries. But wow, let's start off with wow. A lot of you guys probably got a lot of corn for me. I predicted we'd get slapped. But you guys were right. Some of you guys were right. We managed to pull one out the bag. And for me, this is the game where I go, wow, because it was unexpected. The performance from start to finish was incredible. It's incredible. So, look, the best way to get into it, like we always do, is bring you the tactics board. And we took a couple of days out to make sure that we can compile do our research, look at the game, watch it back again, make sure that we can give you the best tactical breakdown that there is on YouTube. We've got a couple of people in the building already. We've got Tahir, big up Tahir, saying, look, let's not overhype it. Where's Liverpool been back in the 8-game losses? Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, we're not going to get excited. We're not going to get overly hyped. But come on, guys. Like, let's give credit where it's due, where credit's due, and we move on from there. We got Captain Sal in the building. Big up, Captain Sal. Jerry, what's going on? Ravi's in the building as well. Big up, Ravi. Hope you're doing well. Captain Sal saying miracles do happen. Now I'm waiting for the lottery. Listen. Right now, I'm not ruling anything out at the moment anymore. I'm going to refrain from doing that because I predicted we get slapped, and we didn't. So yeah, big up, by the way, the cat in the background as well. Hopefully that's not too distracting for you guys. Big up Ilyas as well. You got Ilyas in the building saying, if I speak about Nunez, I'm in trouble. Yeah, man. You know, before we start, is there we're gonna talk about just, wait for some people to come in. There's a lot of Frankie de Jong rumors, isn't there? Looking like he's moving to Liverpool. What are your thoughts on that? Guys? I think, look, most of you guys that come to the show already know this is BS. It is BS, but have to make sure that we address it now. I don't know where these rumors are coming from. Is it because Liverpool need a midfielder? Is it because we had a good performance and there's something to now talk about with some kind of positivity? I don't know, but it's crazy. Ravi saying, question, what does Nunez do against West Ham and Forest? What does he do? Crazy, Nah, it's crazy. When you look at Nunez, what he gave. Nunez, we'll get the graphic up, but I've done my research, and he had, 7 touches in that whole game? And had 3 clear-cut chances in a space of 20 minutes? He's actually a havoc. And I know people are getting onto him, and don't worry, when G comes in, G's going to do, he's going to give him a bit of a piece of his mind. But yeah, man, you know what? One thing I've clocked, he's always having chances, isn't he, the guys? Always having chances. Always. No matter what goes on, no matter how poorly or how well he's played, no matter if he's headbutt someone, he's always creating a chance in a game. And we just got to hope it clicks. We got to hope he just calms down in front of goal and just starts to, just embrace those chances, because, we might as well talk about Nunez quickly before we get into the statistical part of it. For me, Nunez seems like he's playing catch up. Since he got the red card, it's like he feels very guilty for what's happened. So every time he plays, it's like he's trying to go and make up for what he's done. So even that chance where he's definitely seen Salah, of course he has, but he's gone for goal himself, because he's looking at himself like, you know what? I need to score. I have flashbacks of what I did against City last time. If I'm the one that takes it over the line, I start to state my claim that, yeah, I've been a good signing. And I think he's comparing himself to Haaland personally. But look, we'll have to wait and see. We've got M. Tarmizi in the building as well. Big up M. Tarmizi and big up Jay in the chat. Hope all are well. Can't wait to hear the tacticos, the real talk. Exactly. Listen, I don't call myself a tactico, but I think it's important to break it down. I mean, we have some logical sense. So yeah, man, it's just the way it is. But look, I mean, the game, incredible, isn't it? Like, guys, talk to me, because the game right now, we've gone into it. And let's just start from the beginning, guys, because we've gone into it and injury concerns. As Mohamed Khalifi is talking about here, saying, what's up, Dre? Players falling like flies. Yep, they are. And they were falling from before the game. Before the game. We had Konate, a doubt heading into the game, who ultimately didn't even make the bench. So it's looking like he's got an injury. We understand Trent made his surprise inclusion on the bench to play. So that, to me, I don't know. I've got my own kind of ideas about that. I actually think Klopp didn't play Trent on purpose and pretended that he's injured, knowing he wasn't going to go play against Rangers. For him to be on the bench straight away, for me, is a bit iffy. I think it's a more of a tactical type of perspective. But look, he's on the bench. We go into it. Obviously, Diaz injured as well. Matip injured. So we're looking very, very feeble. I mean, the whole talk of it was, is Phillips going to play? Is Milner going to play at right back, which Milner did? Our midfield, do you know what I mean? Fabinho hasn't been in the best of form. Thiago even. He hasn't really, for me, I don't know about you guys, but he hasn't started to play with that, do you know what I mean? That guile and that consistency like throughout the game that we've seen from him. So, you know, we were massive underdogs. But you could look at that and look at, you know what, like Liverpool actually, we actually preferred that underdog status, having that status where we can come into a game and Klopp can actually maximize and motivate the players from a position of like being bottom, being just crap, which Klopp likes to do, right? Gets the worst of a player and makes them into the best that they can be. It gets to a stage where they're like, you know what, cool. Now we can go and give it. And this is where we start our season. We can imagine, like, yeah, I've joked about it, but sometimes, look, you do need a life coach. You just do. You do. And Klopp pulled out the hat. He got the mic out. And look, he motivated them. And we came to that game, and that first 10 minutes, the pressure was immense from Liverpool. Immense. Like, we started on the front foot. Really gave it at City. Really gave it at City. I think we're really intense, like we always are at Anfield. But then what happened is that City came into the game. Now, at first, obviously, you could look at that and view it as, you know, Klopp, the team have lost their control over the game. The game plan's gone to, you know, it's suffered now because City have understood what we're doing and starting to get into the game. And when you go and see that, naturally, as fans, we're like, oh my God, we're not pressing as well. They get into the game. But what I found crucial, and look, I've got to give Klopp and whoever props for this, it seemed as though we pressed and were intense in moments and we were smart. So we didn't press throughout the whole game, knowing that we couldn't maintain that level that we did 4 or 5 years ago. But what we did, we pressed in moments where we had to. And that first 10 minutes, really, it didn't allow City to settle in the game. And it made sure that we didn't concede. It's risky, but we didn't concede in that first 10, 15, 20 minutes, because that for me really was the foundation for us to be able to go and play the game. Because we've conceded first in 3 of our last 17 games, something like that. Don't quote me on that, guys, but something along those lines. So for us to, and as I said in my predictions, if we don't concede first, we'll have a chance. Because scoring goals hasn't been our issue. That, for me, was the foundation for us to go and build from that as a team. And I'm going to get this graphic up for you guys. And as you can see, this is the formation that City started with. And I wanted to start off with City because I wanted to kind of praise what they did to understand from a tactical perspective how they were able to play. And then from there, go and see how Liverpool exploited that. And I think that's the best way to go and do it. So we started really intense, as you could see, pressing the likes of Ake, Akanji. This setup here, by the way, are the pass maps, so they're passing lanes. But what it does show is in possession where City are playing. So once they got into the rhythm, what you saw was Foden, which is top left, is obviously pushing Milner back, not allowing Milner to get forward. Milner got forward when he had to, but he wasn't going to in this game. And I think City gambled on the fact that they thought Milner would do more of a Trent job. And what I mean by that is not Trent's job to that level of obviously to that extent. But what you're seeing is they hoped that he'd get forward and Foden would cheat and exploit that space in between him and Gomez, which would obviously be either side. But what you saw, though, was this back four. So the back four that they started with, so just off the bat, was obviously Ake, which is looking like a left centre-back, Ruben Diaz, who's in the middle of the pitch, Akanji, who played as a right centre-back in possession, and Joao Cancelo, who really played as a right mid, really, really high up. What that meant was, in possession, they were able to overload certain areas of the pitch. So the midfield really was a place where obviously Rodri stays in front of that back three. He makes a four in possession. And what I mean by that is he was the one trying to get on the ball, albeit Bobby playing in the 10, which will show, obviously stopping him. But he's the one trying to get in the ball and they can overload our forwards with 4 versus 3. Really, when we were pressing, because we were pressing as a 3. You look at Joao Cancelo, obviously getting forward really high. Kevin De Bruyne doing this in-between role, link between the midfield and Haaland, but he was quite high up, almost played in that. We've seen Bobby play in that position a few times this season where he's in between the lines, he's trying to get on the ball, and obviously link up with the forward man, almost the link between him and the midfield. But where you could see we wanted to attack, or City wanted to attack, is down this left-hand side, and you see it. Bernardo Silva, Gundogan really alternating positions. First half, Bernardo Silva was the deepest. Second half, Gundogan was doing that deeper role. Ake getting really high to support them in possession. What's really crucial though is it's really interesting, isn't it? Because what you're starting to see now out of teams, City's the great example, is that in possession now, we can't even say they're playing with 4 at the back because they're building up with 3. On the transition, it's like these positions now that we know as right back, left back, because of the technical ability of these players that they've got, they're able to go and occupy different bits of possession, which is crazy. But moving on to what Liverpool done really well, and we're going to get the graphics up for this. Playing 3 at the back against Liverpool's 3, and you can see the gaps between Nathan Ake, Ruben Diaz, and Akanji caused a lot of issues, along with Joao Cancelo, as you guys can see with the arrows, getting up high and almost playing as a right wing back, because I don't know if you guys can see, it's Foden, Joao Cancelo, and Ake. So Foden, Joao Cancelo making up the back 5 with Ake, Ruben Diaz, and Akanji, because they would drop off in defense. Phil Foden didn't do it as well because he's not a natural wing back, but that's what you saw, and it meant that in possession they were able to overload the wide areas, but it left the midfield exposed, and that was the key point. And that was the key point that I've got to give Klopp props for, because it really exposed City's ability to play out. And I'm going to go and show that next. Obviously, it's just me by myself, so big up to everyone that's tuning in. I'm just going to run through some of the comments as well. We got Boo Ride in the building. Big up Boo Ride saying, how many of our players are going to Qatar next month? Jesus Christ, we're going to have to get into that. We are going to have to get into that, man. We've got man like Shawnee saying, let's go, big up. We've got Romz in the building as well, saying he smashed the lights. Big up Romz, big up. We've got 6 times as well in the building. We've got FJ Lit in the building. You know what? I'm going to make a public disclaimer. Big up FJ. I apologize, because out of everyone that's been on this channel, he was the one saying, you know what, we're going to win. And he said it with chest. I know Ish had some hope, and we got to give props to Ish as well. FJ is the one that told all of us, guys, what's Haaland going to do? And guys, Haaland didn't do anything. So it's one of those ones where, look, I take it on the chin and we move on. Clean sheet against City could be a massive confidence boost for us. That's from 6 times. Yes, it could, definitely. But big up Liver Bird saying once the Kings scored, we let them have all the ball they wanted. Possession stacked up pointless, 100%. Because look, Eve. To be fair, even before we scored, we were allowing them to have the possession. We were allowing them. So we got Michael Corleone, LFC the Godfather. Big up Jerry, aka James Tavernier's little bro. Ayo, I big up Mike. Hope you're doing well. You've got Public Sector Direct. Big up. Hope you're doing well. Eld is saying we are far better in defense than without Trent, 100%. FJ Litz and Harvey Elliott helped Nunez so much on that right hand side. Yeah, he did 100%. Salah looked at the crowd like, how dare you question the king of Prem in the last 5 years, 100%. The Reds have got no money but will still win the league. Let's not get too excited. Let's not get too excited. You're almost gonna get me excited. But cool. Let me just run through these graphs, make sure I got it right. 1, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. All right, we'll start this one, right? So, as I spoke about, City building up with the 3. You had Rodri, that's the deepest, and I told you in that first half, Bernardo Silva, who's at just in front of Salah, right? Just in front of Salah. He was the one coming deeper and trying to link the midfield and the attack. The forward line, as City do really well, they try to build up with a 4 up top who come off the lines to get the ball. So what they do is that they trust the likes of Rodri and Bernardo Silva to be able to find these 4 men. It would look as though, naturally you would think, you know what, Joao Cancelo, who's actually getting on the ball, the bottom hand of our picture, you would want him probably like a bit deeper to try and get on the ball and stretch Jota out to pull Jota out of position. But what you're seeing here is they want to build up with a football because they trust their ability to go and find the men. What they try to build up with is a box, isn't it? A box, and the box is, and we did this against Rangers. We did this against Rangers with the 2 pivots and then the 2 in front with Nunez and Jota and Salah. We did this against the Rangers. They get on the ball and they try to fire it into these people, so they come off and the movement creates havoc, and we were able to do that with Rangers. One thing that we did really, really well, and this graphic shows, and City usually dominate, and they do that really well, like in this position, because the back 4 is essentially matched up 4-4-4. So it means the defense have to drop off, and it enables the people on the ball at City to start picking out the passes. But what you're seeing here is Robertson naturally would press out to Joao Cancelo. He'd press out to Joao Cancelo. You'd see Verge come up against De Bruyne. Gomez would shift across, potentially just behind where Virgil would be, and Milner would be on the cover, and Henderson would be covering that right-hand side, or vice versa with the fullbacks. What you're seeing, though, is here right now, it almost looks like a back 3. I know Milner's coming back to cover, but this back 3 is so narrow. It's so narrow. Robertson's tracking De Bruyne's run, with Verge obviously telling him where De Bruyne is running and being able to help out, of course. Gomez will obviously cover the run from Gundogan, who's making the third run into midfield, but he's also marking Haaland. But what you're seeing, though, is that Jota is doing an extremely good job of coming out to Cancelo and closing that line, closing that ability to get out wide and play the ball fast. What it means, he goes back to Akanji, and that's where you want the ball, because Akanji isn't as dangerous, even though they've got possession. And Liverpool, look, throughout the whole game, they allowed City to have the ball. It was like, look, we're going to concede possession in this game because we are not as good as City in that middle area of the pitch. But we don't mind Akanji and Ruben Diaz and Ake having the ball because they're nowhere near as a threat as Rodri is, which Bobby's going to go and press. And Salah is coming back. He's allowing the back 3 to have the ball, because he cannot allow in any circumstance for Rodri or Bernardo Silva to get the ball, because they're supremely dangerous. What Liverpool did is overload this middle. They overloaded this middle because everyone's so narrow. It meant the wide areas were where they would play, and it meant that the center of the pitch, where City are most dominant, they weren't able to exploit as well because the gaps weren't there. And if you see, it's the passing lanes that Thiago and Fabinho, and Elliott, to be fair, that were doing. It's those kind of that role that they were doing to be a screen in front of the midfield and not allow them to get on the ball, which is incredible. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, so it is crazy when you go and look at that. Liverpool did do a job, and we've done that throughout the game, which enabled us to not only target what City not only target the areas where City was susceptible, and we'll get onto that with that three at the back, because the role of Robertson was massive. It also allowed us to be much more defensively solid, and usually what you would see is our fullbacks, so whether it's Tsimikas and Trent in recent weeks, they'd be so high up, the gaps appear in the midfield, and that's where we were, you know what I mean, targeted. Getting a clean sheet really epitomized that, because we've conceded more or less every single game. So to not do that against the our fiercest rivals in terms of recent years, but the best team essentially in the Premier League, it shows testament that the team and Klopp are looking at ways to solidify the defense and solidify the midfield without this intense pressing that has been the kind of the identity of Liverpool, as you like to call. So yeah, massive. Guys, keep the comments coming. Please smash the like. I'm doing this as well as I can whilst trying to look at the comments, whilst also looking at the stats and making sure I get everything out to you. So big up yourselves, big up everyone that's tuning in. Moving on, man. Moving on. One thing that we're going to look at as well, and it highlights 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, and it highlights what I meant about kind of Robertson's role. So as you guys remember, and I'll go back to kind of show you guys. This picture's probably more effective. So as you can see, there's a 3 at the back, correct? Robertson in defense, very narrow, forcing De Bruyne, forcing Gundogan wide, forcing Foden wide to go and keep the ball out there, defending the box, and it essentially sat into a lowish type of block, right? If you look at Liverpool's kind of player influence, is seen where players were positioned in the pitch and where they did a lot of their influence, and this is in possession. Robertson highlighted in black, obviously bold. Reason why that is because where Cancelo pushed up, so he's playing as a fullback out of possession where he should have been. In transition, Robertson and he was so pivotal because he was able to target this space in behind Cancelo, which meant that Akanji had to come across and almost play as a right back. Diaz then has to come across. When Diaz comes across, Ake has to come across as well. Where did we go and why did our number 11 have such a great game? That's the reason why, because of this space left just where Mohamed Salah's name is. And I know it's obviously it's written down, but you guys won't see it because it's not bold enough. But the area of Elliott, which obviously quite narrow as well, covering that space. But it's the role, so obviously blocking the passing lane to Gundogan. Mohamed Salah, so much space in beyond. And we spoke about Salah, is that in a while we haven't seen a goal scored where he was able to break free one-on-one, and he had 2 chances like that. And I always said Liverpool and Salah is at his best and our forward line are at their best when there's space in behind, because we are lethal in terms of our transitions from back to front. And we are able to go and do that. With Cancelo, we took a risk and told Robertson, look, soon as we get in position, you need to break, and Diogo Jota will cover for you, but he will cover in a different way. Whereas, Mane or Diaz in recent weeks is making the run from out to in and almost coming into the box. Diogo Jota was coming inside and covering that space and doing a similar role to what Elliott would do. So where he'd come inside and stop that passing lane. So if we were to lose the ball, that transition to play into Cancelo or De Bruyne gets shut out straight away. And that was massive. That was massive. Another key point to go and look at, guys, is Milner's positioning. We've seen in recent weeks, and we've spoken about it, that right-hand side with Elliott, Trent, and Salah was garbage because they were all in the same place. You had Salah that was all the way out wide on the touchline. You know what I mean? Chalk on his boots. Elliott and Trent occupying the same space. what Milner did, and to be fair, he probably done it in a much more conservative way than we would have, even if we had Gomez playing, is he sat back. He sat back. He didn't get on the ball in the final third or try to go and cause damage in that way. It was about protecting the space in behind. And he knew that if I do that, then Foden is going to have much more. It's going to be more difficult because, yes, he could skin him one-on-one, and we saw that. Gomez can cover you there. But what you can't have is that ball going over your head and Milner trying to do the recovery run, because that's when the gaps open up, because Gomez has got to come across. Van Dijk comes across, and then you've got Haaland and De Bruyne picking out the gaps. So that's really important. As you see with the player influence, we did really set up with a 4-2-3-1, and we've been calling it. A lot of fans have been calling for it. Obviously, the back line with Robertson, Van Dijk, Gomez, and Milner. The two pivots, which are Fabinho and Thiago, making a box with Gomez and Van Dijk. So pressing anything again. A feature of what we did when we went 4-4-2 against Rangers in the first leg. Pressing anything that comes into that box, but allowing the ball out wide. Allowing the ball to go out wide because there's less danger out there. Doing what teams really do to us. Forcing us to go and cross from wide areas. You can see Roberto Firmino in the 10. Salah. Yes, he's off the right-hand side because naturally he's left-footed, so he's going to want to cut in onto that left foot. It's much more natural for him. But as you can see, it's a 4-2-3-1, really, really narrow in the midfield. Gave us a lot of stability in that game. So that's a massive thing. Before we move on, and we're going to touch on obviously how Salah played, Salah's role in the game, as well as looking what Liverpool did in possession as well. A bit more. I'm just going to run through some of the comments as well. Big up everyone that's tuning in. We got Romz as well. Romz is giving what's it called? FJ an apology as well, because FJ's calling for it. Romz, where's my apology? Well, he got it. Big up Mohammed Khalif. Like, subscribe. Yeah, guys, please, if you're enjoying the content, look, I know it's disjointed. I know I'm on my ones today, on my J's. Hopefully, G gets back as soon as. But if not, guys, please, if you're enjoying it, please make sure to like, share, and comment, and subscribe as well if you're new. Because look, we've surpassed 500 subs, and I didn't tell you guys, but that's a massive feat for myself. When I started this whole kind of journey with you guys, I never envisioned it. I just wanted a platform to discuss with Liverpool fans alike about football and about what we need to do, how we need to kind of view Liverpool to take us forward. And you guys have enabled me to do that. And I mean, the platform's getting bigger and bigger and getting bigger than I ever kind of envisioned. So big up yourselves, man. Big up yourself. So the road now is to 1K, guys. It's to 1K. So that's the goal. Let's not shy away from it. I think we can do it as soon as, because you guys are supporting it. So appreciate. We got Honesty, Hortenesia saying, Salah looked at the crowd like, how dare you? Oh, sorry, I've read that already. Apologies. Burrada saying, based on Jota's performance, would you put him ahead of Diaz when you play City at the Etihad? I would, purely because of the defensive responsibility that he was able to go and do. Obviously, we understand he's injured, so God knows how he's going to come back. And he's getting a lot of injuries, and he's starting to become quite injury prone. No two games are the same. So obviously, this game Jota did really well. They might combat that themselves next game, where then you may need a direct kind of, winger, which Diaz has offered, and Diaz he's been great this season. Out of a poor bunch, he's been really, really good. So big up, Eldest, big up, saying, Jerry, what do you think about the January transfer window? Look, we'll speak about that later. I don't think we're getting jack, but I said we're not going to win against City, and we did. So BS should always be referred to as Dick. Big up Lava Bird. Honestly, Honisha saying VVD on his Khabib mode, still undefeated. Yeah, he is done really well. The Don saying, how are we feeling after that City game, guys? I'm surprised. I'm still quite surprised. 6 times saying Gomez was excellent. Elliot has been working on his defensive game behind the scenes, and it showed on Sunday. Facts. Mods, if you can disable some of these guys that are on here. I'll appreciate it. Bring up Chris Jack as well, 66. Guys, please make sure as well, if you guys are on Twitch, I don't really broadcast it that much, but if you guys are on Twitch, please head over there and check it out on Twitch. Same type of content. We're trying to grow on all platforms as well. So big up. Chris Jackson, I probably won't understand everything you'll say because I'm not English. Big up. Where are you from? We can get a translator from you. So big up to yourself, Chris Jack, if you're still tuning in on Twitch. Man like Shawnee, big up, saying what I was most impressed with is with the distances between the team as a whole. Teams are starting to target either side of Fabinho. We were more of a collective unit. Exactly. And that's what that box showed. We were really, really narrow, which meant that we allowed play down the sides. And we're aggressive when it got to certain plays. So I don't know if you guys recall, the ball went out, and I know for whatever reason, if I believe so, Milner was up on Foden, but Haaland had made a run into the channel, and Gomez went out and just clamped that straight away. And you could see there was an aggressiveness when the ball went out wide that we don't see from Verge as much, but Gomez really aided us with that. And look, I haven't been his biggest fan, but he was incredible. Honestly saying, one thing I loved about this game is for how stubborn he is. He adjusted and made a couple of tweaks. We looked defensively better, and Salah was a headache for the defense. So props to Klopp. Yeah, he was. Big up Brandon Brown. Big up, bro. Once Konate is back fit, what do you think of Trent playing the role Elliott did on Sunday? If Trent was in this position, it would have been curtains for City. Potentially, I think Elliott's all-round game is, from what I've seen, is better than Trent's. And I know I say it and people are going to be, shook. They're going to be proper dramatic regarding that. But no, like Trent's great with the ball. All-round game, still a lot to be questioned because there's certain times he passes when he shouldn't. He shoots when he should pass. His crossing, sometimes he spams it in a bit too much. And yes, he is young, but he hasn't played that center role as a professional in the first team. So I wouldn't want to go and see it. Tony K, big up Tony K, saying Anfield really is a fortress with the fans. We've seen without them. To be fair, that was a massive factor in this game. Because I spoke, Anfield's been dead. It's been a library for a long time now, but Liverpool were able to use that as a motivator, and you got to big up the fans for that one because we did need it. Let's just get back into it, guys. Keep the comments coming, guys. Keep liking, keep subscribing. Won't be able to keep checking on all of them, but I'm going to try and get through everyone's comments. So big up. Any questions you got about what I'm posting as well, or anything you want to go and combat, so any kind of no, I think we did this or we shouldn't do that. Please chuck it in the comments because this is for us to analyze together. Guys, Salah goal, 2 seconds, need to run through somewhere. All right, so great, cool. So obviously this epitomizes again what I spoke about in terms of obviously the role City have in possession, but then how we combated that. So what you would see is Milner, as I said, goes out to Trent, to Foden, which is number 47. Elliott, at times, depends. He had an interesting role because he didn't always press up on Ake. Sometimes it was about closing that. He was in that half space in between and stopping the ball, as I said, from getting into Gundogan, blocking that passing lane, knowing that Fabinho's the one that's going to press him if that ball was to go and get out. It just depended on where Salah was on the pitch and whether Salah was blocking the role of Gundogan there. So Bernardo Silva's at 20, but blocking the role of Gundogan. Bobby obviously blocking the role of Rodri as well. And what you saw is out of possession, we went more or less with a 4-4-2 because we stopped their two deepest midfielders getting on the ball, allowed their three at the back to build up, knowing that they weren't going to be as influential as some of the other players on the pitch, as we spoke about. Moving on here, though, this was really, really, really good. So this is just showing again what happened when the ball was on the other side of the pitch. So when Akanji was getting on the ball, Jota, number 20, goes and presses Akanji, knowing that it was clear to see he was the trigger. And albeit he had a decent game, you could see he was the one getting pressed. And a couple of times he had some nervy moments. And what you saw was when Akanji got the ball, Bobby and Salah get in front and cut the passing lanes. And it wasn't an aggressive press, but they cut the passing lanes of Rodri and Gundogan, forcing the ball back into Diaz or back into Ake. Again, allowing them to have the ball. Really important. When the ball shifts over left, Elliot doesn't go and press, as we said, as I spoke about. He doesn't go and press Ake on the ball, which is the number 6 in green. He goes and charges it and cuts in and stops. What happens is he would go and try provide a secondary press to the number 8, which was Gundogan, and stop the ball from coming into the number 20 if he was to stay in this position. If Bernardo Silva moves into this circle here, Fabinho's got to cover that space, because Firmino, not only does he have to back up Thiago in that case, he has to essentially read what Haaland does. Because if Haaland drops off, Fabinho's got to be the man to go and, clean that up. So as you can see, really narrow again. What I wanted to kind of discuss, though, but we're going to get into it here now, to be fair, is Mohamed Salah. Because Mohamed Salah, look, subject to a lot of criticism. I've had the criticism. Still warranted. All-round gameplay hasn't been as good as I've wanted it to be, even though it's improved year on year, 100%. And this season, he was showing kind of his best all-round performances in terms of still creating a lot of chances. Some of the assists he's played this season because he had to play out wide, but not being nowhere near as effective in the final third, right? So we've seen we still struggle to break teams down. When we've got space in behind, I think we know now Salah has to play closer to goal, and that's because of the space that he can go and target. We go back into this graphic, guys, and Salah, look, 3 shots on target. 3 shots in this game, 1 on target, which obviously was 1 goal. What we're seeing straight away here, just off the bat, Salah's getting shots in and around the width of the goal and inside the box. That's crucial because a lot of us have spoken about it. He's out wide, he's isolated, he's not going near the ball because Nunez is playing up top. When Nunez plays up top, they can't be occupy the same space, so they need Salah to do a similar role to what Elliot was doing in the game. It doesn't work because he's not as dangerous as Diaz is from out wide or Mane was from out wide. You need him in and around the box to be as effective as he can be. And we saw, like in the snippet in the Rangers game, when he came on and played as one of the striker in that game, was centre forward, got a hat-trick in record time. So we saw a bit more of the same. There was a lot of questions: should Nunez start? Should Salah start? But we've seen now Salah's got to start in terms of, in terms of getting goals, in terms of being clinical and ruthless. He's got to start. He's got to start. And if we just look at this goal from Liverpool, and it really, I wanted to show you, because this is what was really, 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 really crucial, because we scored. This was a stereotypical counter-attacking game. Every man is behind the ball in this picture. Every man for Liverpool is behind the ball. Salah's the furthest man up. So as that ball comes into it, 74th minute, we're still defending really narrow. That ball's come in. What happens is that ball is blocked. It's blocked by one of our defenders. But what happens is the reactions from Salah and the space in behind, and we spoke about Liverpool needing space in behind to be as effective as they were, when Klopp first came to the season where we won the Champions League, where we got into top 4 and where we went on the run and beat City home and away. Home. We beat them home in the Champions League and away in the Champions League. There was space in behind to counter. When Liverpool have space, it's supremely dangerous. This goal reminded me a lot of what happened, Salah's goal against against Arsenal. I don't know if you guys remember when he broke through and he's running down the middle. Similar goal against United as well, where Dan James was trying to catch him, and once Salah gets going, you can't stop him. And we really saw the pace of Salah. Reactions are incredible. So as you can see, highlighted there, ball behind, Ball into the box, he blocks it. Straight away, though, as Alisson gets the ball, Salah capitalizes on it and sprints out. Sprints. What you're seeing here, though, is he's gotten in behind the four. And the four have done a poor job because they've left Cancelo isolated with Salah in a one-on-one foot race. And you never, ever, ever want this. You go and look at, do you know what I mean? The four are worried about, not allowing Liverpool to play out the back, because naturally that's what we would have done in possession. Arsenal, your Chelsea's, we play at the back. You don't go and do a long ball, because 9 times out of 10, if you haven't got a world-class goalie like Alisson that can provide that type of assist, you're going to lose the ball because the ball gets bounced, and you can deal with it. But guess what? A bit of class as well. And yes, it was a bit of class. And this happens. And that's the position that we're in. Almost 10 seconds later, the ball comes into Salah and he's pinned Cancelo. And where he's pinned Cancelo in that position and he spins him, that's where he causes all the damage. Incredible, because he gets it on the half turn and now we exploit the space. Now it's in a foot race between, there's Bobby, there's Carvalho, there's Jota, there's Henderson, all breaking from that situation. Leaving it a one-on-one at the back. And we all know what happened to that. It was a ridiculous finish. And we had a similar situation where he broke and, Edison made a world-class save. It shows that this was by design. And this is what I like to go and see, is that this was clearly a tactic that we were able to go and execute. Yes, City style of play enabled us to go and do it. And the questions will still be against a team that wants to do a low block. And we've got West Ham coming up tomorrow. We're going to go do a preview for that, guys. And that's going to be really interesting. Can we do the same thing against the West Ham? Because they are going to sit deeper. And yes, we've got the confidence in us. Like, yes, we beat Man City. But we can't do the same tactics. And we're going to have to resort to, a 4-2-3-1, but we're going to have to be a bit more cuter. And we haven't seen that from Liverpool this season in a while, to be fair. This has been my criticism of Liverpool for a long time. So that's the key question that I've got for Liverpool at the moment is, against the big teams, we've got something that can work because teams aren't going to respect us anymore. But will West Ham respect us? Because if they give us space in behind, you saw what we've done. You saw what we've done to Rangers. We saw what we've done to City. We can score goals. But if you sit in a low block and we get frustrated or we concede first, what happens then? I think the key lies in all of this is that we have to be able to shut up shop at the beginning and the end of games. If we can concede in the middle part of a game, we've got a chance because the game's free-flowing. The team can't just sit back from the 40th minute. They can't. But if we concede first really early on and we have to open ourselves up, we are then susceptible to the counter. And because of the way we play, we then need, a Milner to go and bomb forward, which then leaves space and Gomez gets isolated, etc., etc. So, yeah, really, really interesting. I'm going to run through some of the comments and then we're going to get into the question of Darwin Nunez. And then obviously we're going to go and finish up. But big up to everyone that's been tuning in, man. It's been an incredible show. Couldn't have done it without you guys, man. Let's go here. Congrats, Mad. You up to 1,000 subs. That's what it is, man. Big up, honesty. Hope you're well. Question from Ravi. Big up Ravi yourself saying, who in the 10 works well with the strikers? Bobby at the moment. I don't think anyone else does well in the 10. Well, we haven't seen it, but it has to be Bobby. He's been our best player this season. In terms of output, anyway, goals and assists. And he's been clutch, so 100%, man. 100%. We've got Ravi as well saying, are Gomez and Elliott starters? They're going to have to be. With the injuries that we got. They're going to have to be. Nunez saying, Ravi saying, is Nunez better for physical teams? Is he? Or is he more of a havoc for teams that want to go and give us space? I don't know, because I haven't seen him really pin a striker or do what Haaland's done to like Gomez earlier in the game where he spanned him. I haven't seen that from Nunez. I saw direct pace from him, We need to go and be able to obviously go and see that. 1 second, guys. Hold on. I think someone's here.
It's between me and you. Because while you were sitting around, waiting, doing niche, I was out making moves.
We've got G in the building. left me stranded on an island. This was the battle of 5,000. This was just me on my J's in the castle.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, man. I had a doctor appointment. It overran. I apologize, guys. I apologize. I just got home. As soon as I got home, I see I'm all sweating and that. Like, sorry, guys. Bro, what you telling me though, man? You're right.
Yeah, all good, man. Just ran through the game, just with regards to the tactics. Just getting on to Darwin Nunez. So, brother,
Amazing. Let's go.
We're gonna get into Darwin. Just running through some of the comments, man. Here. Robert was an unsung hero for me. He looked fresh. Yeah, he did. And we spoke about honesty in terms of how crucial he was and pivotal down that left-hand side, because he exploited Cancelo. So Cancelo had a choice. Does he go and follow Jota, who drops off, or does he go with Trent, or does he go with Robbo? And that was the problem that we had. I actually had an interesting conversation with someone, one of my coaches. He was actually saying Liverpool should potentially play with that 43 and play Elliot, play even Tsimikas and Robbo together, considering that we haven't got any left wingers. Because Robbo can, in terms of pressing and pace, he's got the pace to get in behind. Which, when you think about it, it's like, you know what? Like, when you think about it, it's like, because if there's space in behind, that's what you go and need. And you know he's going to defensively, he's going to be solid. He understands the game defensively. Yeah. And sometimes you just need that, where it's just pacing behind. And I wouldn't be even opposed to something like that. Is
that what the 43 one, in terms of the alternative to Diogo Jota with him being out?
No. Yeah, exactly. Alternative to Jota, because when you look at Carvalho is not going to go and have the explosivity that Jota had, because what you had on one side, and we spoke about, was obviously Elliot tucking in and being quite narrow. But Jota was doing a lot of he was coming really deep to get on the ball. But you also had the explosivity to get into the box and get on the end of crosses as well. But you need a lot of pace for that, because you're coming from a deeper position. Carvalho doesn't have that. So I don't know how well that works in terms of having that defensive stability, because Carvalho, he's going to leave our fullback isolated, which means if he gets forward, if Robertson gets forward the way he is, it's going to have to be a thing where Robbo gets forward and Carvalho comes deep and just covers that space. But then we go back to what we used to do. With Gini Wijnaldum on that side, so you're not having the same output from.
You see, with Carvalho, something that I've noticed with him in regards to when, obviously, he only comes on for these sub appearances, so maybe because of how the game is, that's why. But when he comes onto the pitch, it always seems like if the other team is always pressing, it always seems like he's quite good in that position or wherever he plays, because he seems to be able to get out of that because he's got good feet and things like that. So then I look at him and think, I don't want to call him press resistant, because I don't think he's that type of guy just yet. But in that position, then wouldn't he then be a good option? Just because when you are up against those kind of teams, if he's someone who can get in and out of the press quite easily, wouldn't you then want that? But I'm thinking about it now as I'm talking, and you saying it about him not being explosive. It might not even really work.
What it is, 100%. That's good. And what you saw was obviously when we've been pressing for a result. So when he's coming against Newcastle and stuff, because he's in the final third and he's high up the pitch, and Klopp just tells him, "Do your thing, just get on the ball and do your thing." He's able to go and do that. But if that was against City and he's dropping in and he has to stop De Bruyne and Cancelo getting on the ball, because he's got to cut those passing lanes, but he's also got to go and support Salah with his role, because he's the one that's also got to be the goal threat, knowing that Elliot's on the other side and Elliot's the one that's going to cut in deep and play a bit deeper. Having two players that deep, it just makes it a bit more problematic, because we're not a team that carves out chances from deep. Like, we need to get into wide areas. So that's why when you said that, I was like, you know what?
No, it makes sense.
He's the one, when you think about it, who else has got the pace like that? Who in our team has the pace like that? Like, just raw pace where, all right, cool.
I'm trying to think, like, we don't really have anybody with that kind of raw pace when you think about it.
Diaz is out. Like, even Jota pace. Like, who's got Jota pace?
No one.
No one, and
really
that's the problem. And that's the problem
Yeah.
we've got. We're a team that, to play as well as we did against City. We scored those goals because of pace.
Yes. Yeah.
And I said it ages ago. When's the last time Liverpool went and scored a goal where the ball's gone back to front fast and it's spacing behind where Salah's running through? It happened twice in that game. Before that, I can't remember when it happened. It was at United back. It was United back then when James was clawing him back. Do you remember when Dan James was back at United? Apart from that, it was like
we don't really score goals like that. No, you're right. You're right. Maybe I'm trying. You know what? As you're talking here, I'm probably trying to think. Now there is a player who's fast, man, but I can't think off the top of my head. There isn't really any players out there that we have who I would say can match that. Even Jota pace. I don't even think we have that. Nunez, obviously, you got Nunez. That's about.
Yeah, but do you play Nunez out wide then? I know we're going to get into what the teams do, but if we play Nunez out wide, like then we're losing just that ability to get on the ball and find the pass. We know we can't do it.
Yeah.
But you know what? Speaking of that, tell me what on earth. Yeah, I'm not even going to get the graphic up for that. But tell me, because I know you wanted your piece. I said to the people, look, G's going to come. He's going to give his piece on Nunez, and I think he came at the right time.
That's funny. I give it this time.
What on earth, yeah? Well, what did you make of Nunez's cameo? Because there's two ways to spin it.
Yeah.
But in your kind of your first preemptive assessment, how do you think Nunez played?
Chaotic. That's probably the best way to describe that. Cameo was super chaotic, and you saying about you can spin it both ways. Yes. And guys, I could see the comments, man. I don't think I can't see the comments, guys. Like I can see everyone saying, go give him some time and this, that, and the other, and blah blah blah, like all of these kind of things. But it's like I was saying on a stream, I think yesterday or the day before, maybe. When you got someone, forget his experience at wherever he's been. When you've got someone that you've paid this amount of money for, you expect certain things to be able to just be there. Doesn't it? Like there are other things about Nunez that I think obviously he'll work on and he'll get better at 100%. But this chaotic football that he seems to bring, it's just too messy. It's too messy, man. And what I said yesterday is Liverpool are a team of structure. We're not a team of chaos. Even though we do like this whole pressing, blah, 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 we do it in a manner that is in a certain type of structure for us, and it works for us. I can't really see him fitting into that kind of structure because he's so unorthodox. Now, you can say, yes, being unorthodox is brilliant because, just having someone who you don't really know what they're going to do next and blah, blah, blah. But players like that, that's a Saint Maximum. But with Saint Maximum, there is purpose there. There is a reason why he does certain things. Yes, you might not know what he's going to do, but I'm kind of more confident that he knows what he's going to do. With Nunez, I don't even think he knows what he's doing. Let him know what he's going to do, just what he's actually doing. Oh my goodness, I'm on the left-hand side, so I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. He comes on with a lot of heart. I give him that. He makes good runs. He puts himself about and things like that, but it's almost like you're actually just getting in the way. So and that's how I look at him, is like you're almost in the way, so people just leave you to it. Klopp has to put you in a position where you're kind of out of the way, but you're still able to kind of affect the game in a certain way. You saw him pull Salah to the side when Nunez was coming on, and that was probably to tell him Nunez is coming on the pitch. Gonna leave him on that left-hand side, or just in and around you, but you just stay, up on the. I need to tell you the tactic, because if I don't tell you, Salah, the tactic, Nunez is just gonna come on and fuck it up in some type of way. And when he came on, like the manager might on Saturday, Sundays, the manager might speak to you personally, like if you're a bit more of a leader in the team and so is coming on. Look, I kind of need you to just take responsibility here, all right? You've got the young guy on, I'm just going to give him the minutes. I'm just going to let him, do his thing. He's got good little things here and there. But at the same time, I just need you to kind of hold it down up there. And that's what it seemed like to me. He was just telling him to. Oh my days! I don't
even to read that out, man.
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say. I didn't say that, people. So please don't associate me with that. But that's what I see from him. He's too unorthodox and too chaotic. And under Jurgen Klopp, Liverpool are not like that. We don't ever. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. We've never had a player of that type of who can just come in and just do everything and it just like everywhere. That's not really Liverpool. I'll be honest with you. So when I see him coming on the pitch, yes, he is different to Bobby, to Jota, to Salah. But just because you're different doesn't make you, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you must play and stuff like that. I'm going to give him the time. I'm not saying he's going to be shit, but that's not my type of striker. I don't think he will be that successful here at the club, but I'm not going to slander him or nothing like that. So we'll just let him keep doing his thing. It might work. It may not work, but I just think under Jurgen Klopp, it just doesn't really work, man. Somewhere else it would work, though.
Fairs. I want to put this graphic up. This is Darwin Nunez, right? And what you're seeing is that in the game, he had 7 touches. 7 touches, as you guys can see. So the triangles, the pluses, and the stars, right? But what you're seeing there, he's had 7 touches, but 3 clear-cut chances created in that havoc. And one thing that I was saying earlier on at the beginning, and I said we'll get onto Nunez, is for how frustrating he is as a player. The one thing that I've started to see and just realize is that there's always chances with him. There's he always creates a chance. I've seen games where I've looked at Salah or Mane or Origi, and I'm like, these brothers aren't going to score. Like they're not going to score, but not because they're not in a game where we're playing really well and he's had like 20 chances, but he's not just finished. Like, bruv, we can't even get near. We can't get near the box. Like, you can't get in a situation to score. Every game he's played, he's looked a threat. Every single game. And what I wanted to say, what's kind of giving me a bit more confidence, and I spoke about, and I think what I've realized with Nunez is look, he's a young guy, but I think he's actually comparing himself to Haaland. Before you continue,
remember the age. You're the one who tells everybody the age don't even matter.
No. I'm not talking about him not playing. I'm saying his age. So in terms of his mentality, he's comparing himself to Haaland. So what he's doing is, I believe, and this is my theory, he saw Salah and he saw Carvalho. What he did in that situation is he made an executive decision by just saying, nah, I'm going for goal. But the reason why he's going for goal is because in that last game in this Community Shield, man were comparing me to him. I didn't start, people like I came on, caused havoc and scored. And it's like, I was the guy that won us the Community Shield. Like, I'm the one who took it over the line. Not won us it, but he's the one who got to take it over the line. If he went and scored that against City, we'd be looking like, you know what? We'd be sitting here now saying, you know what? Maybe this guy he's that guy, you know, because it's a big game and he's come clutch again. Like he's the one who got us, because you know that 2-0 is a different game than 1-0. Do you know what I mean? Even near the end, pumping the ball in. Like, I know my stream was behind, and when you messaged, you were like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "What? Have they scored again?"
Oh, is that what you? Okay, yeah, I get you now.
That's why I was like, "Hold on." I was like, "Is my stream behind?" I was like, "No way," because it was at the 96th minute. I was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, have they scored?" It was crazy to me, but I've got a feeling.
Go on.
Once he calms down in front of goal, where he just calms down in front of goal, I think he's actually going to get a lot of goals. And the reason why it is because it's not about the dribbling and all that type of stuff. Like, in terms of, do you know what I mean? Even though we even went and saw, there was a bit where he's rapid. He took on Akanji and Cancelo and was tapping it past them like there was nothing. And it didn't look like he tapped it and he was trying to like tap it far in front of him. You know how Bell's done, and he's putting on the afterburn to catch the ball. He was running with the ball and tapping it. And I was like, hey, this guy's got pace in him, you know? He's got 100%. Pace. And then he went and drew the foul. If he calms down in front of goal, look, he's not going to be a Suarez or anything, but he's going to get goals. And one thing that I saw at Haaland, and it showed me in that game, technically Haaland isn't the best. You know when you're talking about Benzema, when we're talking about Benzema's and Suarez's and that type of thing, Haaland, listen, he's not technical, because we saw a couple of his touches were baggy. That shot that he did, you know, that left-footed shot that he had. I know he went in.
And he fell down, I think.
Yeah, that was some bobbly shot. Like that's some poor bobbly shot. And it's like, if Nunez had done that shot, like I'm actually starting to believe if Nunez had done that shot, we'd be onto him. But rightfully so, because he's our player and he's not like in terms of that thing, it's frustrating. But we've got to treat the brother the same because in terms of impact, Nunez looked more threatening than Haaland did in that game.
He did. And I guess what you can say the difference between the two is Haaland requires other players around him to be effective.
Yeah.
I.e. Kevin De Bruyne, Silva, whoever, Foden. Whereas Nunez doesn't really require anybody to be effective in games. So he can come on, as you said, he comes on in games and he is the one that is just being effective. But when you're saying, I just find it like, when you're saying he needs to calm down in front of goal, I agree, he does need to calm down. But this is a guy who bagged how many goals last season? I expect that here. I feel that there isn't. What's the difference of you coming here to score goals?
But that's what I'm saying. I think the difference for him is the pressure is different. And we said it. A lot of players can't live up to that pressure. We've seen it with United players where they go and then the pressure of them just being at this club and it being intense, the pressure is getting to him. Like mentally, that's in terms of not him playing. And I'm talking him playing is completely different. But that if you should be playing and you should be playing well, 100%. But what I'm saying is that mentally, and look, Saint, big up Saint as well, even talking about it as well, saying, look, he was definitely impactful, but his decision-making was horrible. With decision-making, though, I agree, 100% it was horrible. But if he goes and bags that goal, where he's taking it, right? Or if Trent scores that pass, because to be fair, when I look at, I rewatched the game before I came on, and you see that bit when he's cut inside, and he's gone down the line and he's crossed it across the box when you should have passed it to Carvalho. But there was a brother behind Carvalho.
But if you play that in real time, if you play that ball in front of Carvalho runs onto it and scores.
But the problem is there's a brother in front of him because the brother's marking Carvalho, right? Yeah. So the brother's he's blocking the space in Carvalho. That pass there was actually a wicked ball. He just overhit it because what he's done there is he's dragged the person out and saw the far one out. If he plays it to Carvalho, I'm telling you now, this is what Carvalho does. He gets the ball, the brother comes onto him, and he's got to take a touch. Because he's not in the center of the goal anyway. So for him to get that ball, he's going to have to adjust himself to finish with his players in front. I personally believe after I watched it, obviously we could disagree, but he's going to do this. He's going to take, and I've seen it, and we see it all the time. Bobby gets it in that similar position. He takes the touch, has to do a turn, find it, and then we've got to start again.
So is it a case then with Nunez?
That pass there, so sorry, for me, that pass there was actually the right decision because if De Bruyne, because of different quality, plays that pass and it's not underhit, it's not overhit, it's a tad bit less, and then you see whoever's flying in back post, Sterling back in the day scores a goal, and you're like, oh, that was just easy, bro. You just give it for a tap in. That's the kind of decision for me. That pass to Carvalho is the easy pass. Okay, it's like, yeah, give it to you there, but you know he's not going to do anything with it because he's not like by him. Like when you watch it again, he's not by himself because by the time the ball's been passed, the brother's already touching Carvalho. He can touch Carvalho. He can touch Carvalho as the ball's being passed. So I know if he's passed the ball to Carvalho, by the time Carvalho's taken a touch, the brother's on him. So even if he takes that first shot, it would have to be a worldie. He'd have to hit one where it's like he smashed it and it's gone into the roof of the net. He's not passing to Kane where I think, yeah, that's the right pass. Do you get it? So
yeah,
that I hear it, but you're right. The pass thing, the goal situation where there was a 3-on-1, 100% he's got to pass the ball. 100%. No doubt.
I think he knows that. I think he even knows that.
He knows it. But what I think it is though is he knows it, but said to himself, "I need to go for goal. Like I need to score. I'm the one that needs to score the goal." That's what it was more than anything. He's not talking about. Do you know what I mean? That thing, and then obviously saying, "Look, bro, why are you not talking about the one-on-one? The one-on-one's poor. The one-on-one's poor. Like that's just poor. That's just poor."
Yeah, that was. I didn't really know. It was almost like he got too overexcited. Like
that one was like, you know, when you got like 3 over, and it's like, bro, what's going on?
I just think you know what it is. We're talking about Nunez, obviously. Look, he's our striker, and this is the guy that Jurgen Klopp put his faith in to do something. And listen, I'm not stupid. I understand that with certain players, you do need to give them some time. It hasn't helped that Liverpool have been shit this season. Hasn't helped that the team is out of form and not really playing well. I don't even think we have a real style at the moment. I think Klopp keeps bouncing around now, trying to figure out, you know, what works and stuff like that. You get what I mean? So all of that doesn't help Nunez 100%. So it's not all his fault, of course not, and I don't think that anyway. My issue is that it just seems like every single game we are talking about something to do with this guy, that he just something to do with him. You know, it's never seeming to be, you know, I just maybe it was my expectations. My expectations were so high for someone like this, because I expected for Klopp to put his trust in this type of signing. I expect a lot more, regardless of him coming in, new country, young player. Like, forget all of that, because I thought the level of the player that we were signing was a lot higher than what we actually received. But it doesn't seem that way. It seems like he is a level below what I actually think he is.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Maybe
100%.
now I have to kind of just temper my expectations in regards to Nunez, because I'll be real, I still do not think in any walk of life he becomes as good as depending on who you think is better, a Torres or a Suarez, let's say.
But the thing is that's what I'm saying. I don't think he can be like a Suarez, but I definitely think he can be like a Torres.
You definitely think he can be like a Torres in terms of his
goal
output.
No, because in terms of his goal output and think about it, Torres was never like an assister like that. And yes, Torres, Torres' touch was ridiculous. Like Torres' touch was ridiculous, isn't it? But I've gone and seen, for example, against Newcastle, where the ball's going over the top, and Nunez touched it and hit that on a volley, and you caught that sweet. He caught that volley sweet when it came off the crossbar. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm seeing stuff like that where I'm like, so you can catch the ball there really well. I saw you finish against Rangers where it was a nicely on the floor, no bobble finish, just into the corner. Do you know what I mean? Against Rangers. I can see you can at Benfica. The reason why I was on the Nunez train in the beginning is because when I saw at Benfica that finish he done against Liverpool, when he's instepped it, when he's turned,
that was a good finish.
Exactly, and I'm like, so this brother has the technique to go and finish.
That's what I thought we was getting, Jerry.
But here he's getting it, and he's like he's stiff, like everything's agitated, everything's snatching that stuff. So when I'm seeing that, I'm like, there has to be a reason behind it. And for me, what I'm trying to think of is the pressure of him being at Liverpool is getting to him. But the real pressure is not coming from his price tag and stuff. It's the fact that people are comparing him to Haaland and because of what Haaland is. And naturally, he's a striker. So he's comparing himself to Haaland. Because I know for a fact, if I was a striker in the Prem, I compare myself to Haaland. Same way Tony comparing himself to Harry Kane. You compare yourself to them, innit? Especially they're similar types of profile of player. So he's thinking it like, no, you know what? And it goes back to my idea on why he didn't pass that ball, is because he's running for on goal saying, I need to upstage Haaland. I need to do the same thing I did in the Community Shield, where I come on and score. And I'm like, what are you doing, Haaland? What are you saying? Big game, you have to score again. Because
we do.
and I mean, that's the mentality you want from him. Like, I don't want, you know, them strikers that just all of a sudden just start passing and they're timid. And you're like, bro, we're not going for a goal. Like, you see it with certain players when they come to the big leagues and they're like, no, I'm not even going to try shoot. Like, I've seen it with Werner now, where he just become a pass man. He started to just pass. He started to get the ball and just pass. And I'm like, bro, why didn't you shoot?
100%.
So for me, it's one where, look, because we won the game, I'm looking at it as a positive. But I 100% agree. If we had gone and drawn or lost that game, like I was screaming at him, bruv. I was screaming at him. I was screaming.
But how can we go from such a look how big of a difference is what you just said there is. Obviously, yes. If he had scored, you would have been do. But then, if he had missed, that gap from high to a low is why I look at him sometimes, and I just think to myself, you are clearly a player who's gonna tear your hair out and stuff like that. Yeah, fair enough. Big up Liverbird, man. If you trust in Klopp, you need to believe and not doubt. Nunez will come good. Yeah, you see those first few words, yeah. That's it is these days anyway.
The trust has been broken, bro.
Like, bro, I was gonna say that trust with Klopp.
When you see something, broken. Then you can go and talk about. I'm not talking about. Yeah. Anyway.
No. I was literally gonna say, like, look, you were just about to say anyway. Like when that trust in Klopp for me comes back, then 100% I'll start looking at, you know, things that he's doing. Like, for example, it's what I said on the stream on Sam's stream yesterday. Sunday's result, fantastic. The way everybody played, the way the team, the tactics worked, instructions he was giving certain players. I don't know if you were speaking about Elliott and his positioning, and James Milner and his positioning, Jota, his positioning, Robertson and some of his positioning. All of that just absolutely clicked. And obviously on top of that, the players then upped their game by 100. So, it also helped, it being against Manchester City. That's why I feel that it was one of those kind of games. Can we do the same? Can we play the exact same way against West Ham? And what I mean is same instructions, same tactics, same style of football. Can we do that against West Ham? I'm not 100% sure, because I feel that actually works more in West Ham's favor than it does Man City, because of the type of football that West Ham will play at Anfield, which is want to drop off deep, not have the ball themselves, and just want to play counter-attacking football. We've seen them do it. They beat us last season 3-2 by playing that same style of football. So I can see them potentially trying to do that again. So then what do we do then? Because we barely had the ball on Sunday. We barely had it. Even though
that's allowed us to go, and play the way we did, because you could be really intense without the ball, spacing behind and counter. And I've actually said, West Ham, are they going to respect us? Are they not? If they respect us and they sit back like Moyes, which I think Moyes is going to do, we're now asking these players to do something completely different. They've got to be now creators. They've got to be a bit more cute in those pockets. Can we go and do that? I don't know, man. I don't know. So
definitely too.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's run through some of the comments before we go and head out, man. But guys, look, there's 50 of us in the building. Please,
guys, make sure you're smashing them, like, please.
Smash the like as well. Let me just make sure, see how many likes we're on at the moment. Raw. We're on 44 likes, guys. Can we get to 50 likes? Can we get to 50 likes before I go through the comments? But big up to everyone. I'm just gonna run through some of these comments that I've starred. Eldest saying, oh, we read that already. Boo Rider, big up, saying Elliott has impressed me the most this season. I wouldn't say he has any special abilities, but every time you see him play, you can see he's given 100% and playing for the badge. I agree with the end bit of it. I don't know if I don't know if he's impressed me like that. Like when I looked at him and Foden, like there was a couple, like if we had Foden in that situation and we're on the edge of the box.
Oh yeah, come on now.
Where it's hit me, like he done this little stumble thing, and there's a couple times he got the ball and he's running with it and he ran off the pitch, and I just like, yeah, he's that level below as well. He's just that level below, which is a good player. You've got to play him at the moment. I think he deserves to.
Yeah, he's in form. He's in form.
Top level player, man. Oh, is it? Hold on. Let's run through the comments. Yeah, G, if you see any comments as well, just start them as well.
Yeah.
We can go through. Jamrock saying, who in our front line has the pace? I wonder who. Let's think about it. Nunez has the pace.
Nunez has the pace.
Nunez has the pace. Probably the fastest in our team, to be fair. I actually think he's the fastest in our team. Man. Assad saying, Jerry, didn't I repeatedly tell you that you'd get a result against City? The Anfield tax is hefty for Pepper City. It is, it is.
Very, very taxing. I don't know what it is. I'm
gonna have to remember. I'm gonna have to actually just next time we play City at Anfield, I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna remember, man. Jamrock saying, I put a huge discount on G's assessment of Darwin, to be honest.
Guys, look, as I keep saying, man, let's hope that he is. Let's put it to you this way. There's more evidence to suggest he won't succeed than there is to suggest that he will succeed. So let's hope that he does succeed. That's probably the best thing I can say in regards to Nunez, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's calm. Honestly, big up Honesty saying, one thing Jess said in the Football Terrace was she needed LFC to lose because a win can make LFC believe. And if LFC start believing, they can become dangerous. Yeah. That's very, very true. That's very true. I agree.
We're a team who breeds confidence. So,
Trudon, one loss by the Hove, and
it changed already.
Man went over to Italy. Like, bro, you're moving like a Nigerian footballer that's just got no home. He's on loan everywhere, bro. You're just playing in Moldova.
You're coming like a Nelka, bro. You're playing for everybody.
Everywhere, playing for everyone. Jamie Phillips, big up Jamie Phillips. Make sure to subscribe to the Jamie Phillips Football Chat show, saying not the same tactics, but we should play like that, like we did against Man City, I assume, with that mindset. With a mindset, but that mindset should have been with every game, though. That's the point. That mindset should be with every game. man like Shawnee saying Salah actually made his run for his goal before Ali even caught the ball. 100%, 100%, 100%. Burrada just agreeing with G, saying, look, Jerry is a team capable of beating the top 6 sides. If they give us space in behind, yes. If they sit back like Chelsea have done in the past, then no. Because I haven't seen, there's no evidence to suggest that we can break down low blocks yet. I mean, that we've played, we came up against a team that we had the majority of the possession for, which was Arsenal, and they beat us. We then went up against teams where, Rangers are poor and we're able to just play and do really well.
Rangers was like a good training session that will allow you to implement your tactics against competitive opposition. That's what I feel like playing against Rangers was like. It was one of those.
Exactly. But then we go up against City and the spacing behind. So obviously we can go and
exactly.
So Trudon saying Nunez is worse than Voronin. I don't think so. Jamrock saying 1,000% agree with Jerry. I think he wanted to upstage Haaland. Yeah, I think so. Asa saying G son, Dad, I got an A my test. That's okay. We should have got an A star.
What is the highest grade you can get in test, boy? Don't tell me.
You'd be like an A star. You'd be like, yeah, but you didn't get full marks. You got 1 mark wrong. You know, like that.
I always want the best, man.
Or you look at it and be like, yeah, but I don't like your handwriting. You got an A star, but I don't like your handwriting. So fix that.
Oh my days, man.
Got Remy saying, JJ, Mr. Negativity. Am I Mr. Negativity? Really? With both of us on the stream? G? Am I Mr. Negativity?
It might be me, bro. It might be me.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'll take it. Why should we play the same kind of game against West Ham? They're not Man City. Well, we shouldn't. The whole idea is, the premise is that we shouldn't play the same type of. We should play the same type of game, because that's when we are at our best. If there's spacing behind, then we would want. Ideally, you want to play that game. You want West Ham to go and come out at you. Do you know what I mean? If we don't score first and West Ham are deep, it makes it more difficult to break down. So yes, it's not the same type of game. But have you got any evidence to suggest we can break down these teams clinically and effectively this season? Even come on. Do you know what I mean? Run for some comments as well. Live a bird saying the ball to Trent Alexander-Arnold was the right option, not to Fabio, as that was a cleaner chance. A fitter Trent Alexander would have tapped that in. Potentially, if that was Salah or someone, maybe whoever hit. Brandon Brown saying the player would have had to have fouled Fabio to stop him either shooting or passing because the ball's in front of him. Guys, I tell you guys though, rewatch that because by the time
I'm gonna rewatch it again. As soon as
he gets the ball, because you guys are thinking about it when, like, he's running with the ball. So as he tapped it, Carvalho's coming to shot, but it's like, bro, I can't. If I find you there, the bread is gonna come in. So it's like by the time he's looked up, that was the right option. But check it again. Yeah. Joe Makepeace, big up yourself, saying, have to remember as well, Haaland did nothing against us. It's hard to score goals in these games. It is, but it's because of how we played. If we were open and expansive, these games have always been high-scoring games. This is the first time it's actually been a 1-0. Yeah, I mean, usually you get 1.5 plus goals minimum.
100%. I thought it was going to be like that anyway, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. Different. Let's run through it. 1 second. Loverbird saying, Romz, if anything, the City game should make you slap yourself in the face for ever doubting Klopp. I still got my doubts. One game doesn't. Do you know what I mean?
I think this is what we need to. I think this is something that we need to address. Look, guys, the reality is this season we've been shit, been absolutely poor, underwhelming, underachieved in every possible way. We're currently 8th, so I mean there is no cause for optimism. There isn't really that much. Oh my goodness, Liverpool are this, we're that. What has happened on Sunday is that we've got a fantastic win against the best team in this league anyway. But after yesterday at the Ballon d'Or, the club of the year. So no matter what you think about that, they are easily the top 2 clubs in the world of football at this current moment in time. So what we achieved on Sunday was absolutely immense. But what we need to be careful of is saying, things like that, because the reality is there was no Trent, there was no Diaz. there was also a James Milner on the pitch. So by that notion, we're all sitting here saying we should start James Milner often, we shouldn't play Luis Diaz, and we shouldn't have Trent Alexander-Arnold on the pitch. So this is why I always get the Liverpool fans just happy with the result, but we move now. That result, I've completely forgotten about it, because the reality is now this West Ham fixture is now if not more important now. Do we follow on? And that's why I think Jerry's asking about the tactics for the next game against West Ham. Do we play the same way? Can we play the same way? If we can't play the same way, will we still get the same result? Will we still get the same level of performance, from the Reds? If we do, and we can start going on a run, now we can start building up that positivity. Now we can start building up the momentum that we know these guys can do. We probably both, I don't know, I'm not going to speak for Jerry on this one because I don't 100% know, but I'm going to guess, to me, only Liverpool, Manchester City are the only two teams that I believe could still, like, just in a general, can go on crazy runs in a season. They're the only two teams who have actually done it in like the last 5 years. So I can't see why Liverpool couldn't go on another run if they got their act together. One game doesn't mean you got your act together, but you have to start from somewhere.
Exactly. One thing I'd say though, if we go on a run, like, big up to Honesty for this question as well. It's a question to both of you, and you basically answered it. If we went against West Ham and Forest, would there be a belief that we can go for top 4 or higher? Remember, the league is not won in September. That's very true. And look, as G said, we're the only teams that have proven that we can go on these long runs. To me, it'll be mad if we got anywhere near the title from this stage with this team. The whole.
Oh, then I'll change my opinion on Jurgen Klopp. I already said it. I'll start changing my opinion. Of course,
everything's got to change. Everything's got to change. But until then, I've got to wait. You lot are different. Before the game, we're gonna go and get battered. Now you win, it's just negativity. There's no winning with you lot. We're not negative.
No, we're real. There's a difference between the two. Asad, come on, you know, Asad, you and us two here. You know the deal. You understand that we're not gonna be Redmen TV, for example, where we're going to go maybe 2 over the top with 1 win in a season, because we beat Bournemouth 9-0. We beat Newcastle 2-1. We've beaten Ajax. And I've also seen those games followed by Napoli's, by your Brightons, by your Arsenals, by your, we've seen it so much in the season. Can you honestly sit here and say that you could trust this team to go on? I think this season, have we, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, have Liverpool gone back-to-back in the Premier League yet?
No.
So again, we're 10 games. I think we're 10 games in now to a season. You haven't won 2 games in a row. That's very embarrassing, and that kind of speaks for itself for these first 10 games. That doesn't speak for itself for the rest of the season. Of course not. The season is still long. We've still got 28 games to go. So anything can happen, but we can only assess what we've seen. I can't assess the future. Everyone is playing psychic now. Everyone thinks this and that. I can't predict what's going to happen. We can only talk about what has happened currently. So for this first 10 games, Liverpool have been absolutely rubbish. But let's move on to the next 28. Who knows? We could be flying high in the league. And if we do, we can assess that. And then we can give you the opinion on that, Exactly. Asa, don't try.
Remy saying, why compare Elliott with Foden? They are different players with different attributes. Effectiveness to their respective teams is what matters. Elliott has been this to us. He hasn't been a Foden to us in terms of effectiveness to their respective teams. They play similar positions. They play in the 10, they play as a centre mid, and they play out wide, which Elliott's played similarly. They're also both English, and they're both young players asked to go and perform in the biggest of games. If I didn't compare Foden with Elliott, it means I'm not rating Elliott. I'm not rating him. Do you know what I mean? When I'm comparing Salah, I don't compare Salah to, do you know what I mean? What's his name? From Brighton or someone. Do you know what I mean? Like Solly March or whatever. I don't go and compare him to Solly March, because I know like Salah's on a different level. If I'm comparing you on that level, it's because I'm respecting you. So if anything, like, you need to view it like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Noah saying, Jerry, question for you and G. Why are you lot not celebrating beating Man City? They are the best in the world, and you showed passion and desire. And Henderson always fights for the badge. Henderson should fight for the badge. If he didn't, he wouldn't be the captain. We did show passion and desire, and I am celebrating it. If you went and saw earlier in the show, I was bigging it up. I was saying we've done it fantastically. I gave Klopp props. I'm speaking about the next game. I'm saying, guys, yes, we won. It was a great win. We played really well. It was probably our best performance this season in terms of tactically getting something right. How is this gonna carry on against West Ham? Like, this is a tactics show, guys. I mean, I looked at the tactics and showed what City done wrong. Why we were able to build on what City did. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think everyone wants us to be jumping for joy and, you know, screaming, "Oh my goodness, we're going to win the league and we're going to do this." Guys, like, you've known us for too long. Noah, you've been on the show, man. Everyone's been on the show for quite a long time.
Yeah,
you know how
Remy, you're saying you are wrong. Elliot's been effective to us. I'm not saying you are wrong. So to you go look at me and say you are wrong is a bit disingenuous, but it is what it is. Who are you to go and tell us we're wrong? I don't know. But anyway, you're saying Elliot has been effective to us. He's been the man of the match in some of our matches. Yes, he has been, but his effectiveness hasn't been to what Foden's level has been, or to someone else's, another midfielder's has been. I think he's been good out of a poor bunch. He hasn't been good when we were on top form. Like, I mean, I could argue Diaz has been more influential than Elliot. Bobby's been more influential than Elliot. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Foden's been one of their best players. Like, do you know what I mean? Let's in a team that's lost one game this season. Come on, like, do you know what I mean? Let's not do this. Let's not do this. John Paquette saying right now Harvey moving like Jamie Redknapp, but he's still got time. Yeah.
Jamie Redknapp was all right. He was like a decent.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, exactly. Arsenal for life saying thank you for doing us a favor.
You're welcome. You're bloody welcome.
Assad saying you are correct. They are negative specialists. I say that only move with the moments. Remy, like, just to kind of put it out there, obviously this thing's all for it and we're all respectful and all of that type of thing. Right now, like, stuff goes on in life. Liverpool have won. We're in a good mood. We're actually just talking about the next game. So we can be it. We're gonna have a preview as well. First of all, I'd want to say, if you want to go and have a conversation and converse, we've got a call-in show. Call in and have your say, and we can say it face to face with the cameras. Other than that, if we are negative specialists and that's how you go and feel, Assad's bantering, and we know Assad, and he's come onto stream and told us. If you're saying we're negative specialists, but you really mean it, the platform's not for you then. The platform's not for you. It doesn't have to be. Like, we don't, do you know what I mean? There are many, there's loads of other shows, great content creators. You've got Coppish, you've got Saint LFC TV, you've got Big Six Bands, you've got GTV coming as well, you've got Kloppzone. There's so many where you can go and, do you know what I mean, address your issues with them if you think we're being negative. So big up to yourself, Sick Man Gaming, big up JJ. When's your next call-in show? You know what I'm going to do is, for the preview, we're going to either do it, we're going to try to do it this evening, see if we can do it. If not, it's going to be tomorrow. But we're going to do a preview. And after the preview, we're going to have a section there where some of you guys will be able to call in and just voice what you want to go and do. Because I did promise you guys a call in for the game after the City game, but because due to personal reasons, like, we couldn't get that up and running. So, yeah, we will do that. Big up to your damn self. We got Mark A as well. Big up saying missed the stream, but Joe and Elliot put a shift into protect the fullbacks. 100%. They put a shift in, as I spoke about, really narrow. Remy saying, I do mean it. You don't like the truth said. Okay.
I can't even be bothered anymore, like, because Remy, look, he's already just said it. Like, at the end of the day, bro, if you think that we're this negative, my guy, the exit button is on that side. And I never say this to anybody because I welcome everybody, even people who we don't agree with all the time.
We've had Louis Las Vegas. We've had loads.
We've had plenty. And the thing is that is actually wonderful, because that is the beauty of football. We can't all agree. Me and Jerry literally 2 seconds ago didn't agree on something here, because me and Jerry are not the same. We don't agree on everything. Me and Romz, me, Jerry and Romz, we don't agree on everything. But the reality is, if we're not the type of page and channel for you, I'll be real with you, bro. The cross button is right there, man. Like, you don't have to stay on here. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to follow, because we don't want this level of, I can't even say criticism, because criticism is absolutely fine. It's the negativity surrounding us. And I feel like it's more personal than anything. I don't really feel like it's judged on what you're actually seeing. It seems to be more, you think we are this, when the reality is, no, we're just speaking our truth. We're not saying it's factual. We're not saying it's thing. We just base everything on the facts that we get provided with and the facts that you all can see. So if you don't like it, bro, the exit button's over there, my guy.
Yeah, what I'd say as well is if you've watched as well, start the thing from the beginning and read
Yeah.
what I said. Because I was on stream for about 50 minutes on my ones, speaking about, do you know what I mean? Like, let what Liverpool did, regardless. Do you know what I mean? Big up everyone in it that's there. So it is what it is, man. But yeah, it's funny. But before we head out, G, what's going on? Tell the people what's coming.
We've got GTV obviously popping. Guys, please make sure you head on over there. Subscribe, please, to my page. Yeah, we're gonna have a few bits and bobs coming out over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, if not, you'll catch me on Jerry James. I don't know when he wants to do the preview. I mean, I'm good for tonight.
Guys, smack the notification bell, because depending on how it is, it might be a late night one tonight.
Yeah.
You guys, you'll probably enjoy that. It'll probably be good. If not, it'll be tomorrow around this same type of time, so around 4:30. We'll try and get that out to you, man. But yeah, man. It's been the Jerry James show. It's been the Tactics Board. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Big up to all the haters in the building. But big up, honestly. As I said, the call-in show is going to happen after the preview. So please feel free, tune in. You know what I mean? Engage. You know what I mean? Engage with us, converse. It's been the Jerry James show. It's been myself and G, and we're out, people. Boom.